Right now, the drugs that are out there, they'll just kill you.
Tonight on Connecticut's news station, local groups are raising awareness about the dangers of opioids while ending the stigma of addiction. We'll bring you one mother's message tonight.
Bacteria seeping into the water of a shoreline community, what people can do to stay safe.
There's hurricane help coming from home. The plan's in place here at the Red Cross of Connecticut. I'm Jim Altman. We're in Farmington. More ahead on the Fox 61 News.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
A day of somber reflection as people gathered to mark the International Overdose Awareness Day. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Sarah Sanchez.
And I'm Ben Goldman. Fox 61's Matt Caron joining us now to share the personal stories of struggle and the new initiatives underway to stop this crisis.
Well, today was a day to bring drug addiction out of the shadows and back alleys and back into the sunlight, and to let people know that it's a disease like any other, one that is preventable, yet still claims the lives of nearly 1,500 of our Connecticut neighbors each year.
Right now, the drugs that are out there, they'll just kill you.
Nobody knows that better than Southington's Christine Gagnon, who lost her son Michael to fentanyl-laced marijuana.
We really need to know that some of these deaths were not because they took too much, which overdose implies. They were poisoned.
On this day, 1,464 flags adorn the grass at Walnut Hill Park in New Britain to honor each person who suffered in silence and ultimately succumbed to the silent epidemic of addiction that doesn't have to be fought alone.
Your addiction is our addiction, and your recovery is our recovery, and recovery is contagious.
The stage quite literally set in New Britain for this International Overdose Awareness Day. And while awareness is important, so is action. Connecticut securing $600 million in recovery funds after settling a lawsuit against bad actors like Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family.
Let me just assure you that Connecticut is front and center. We are not going to let them get away with this.
While federally, the Biden administration today announcing $450 million in new funding.
It includes disrupting and dismantling the trafficking operations of illicit drugs.
State officials used this day to announce new public health pilot programs. Narcan vending machines are coming to Connecticut.
Supplies to be able to use drugs safely, whether it's Narcan, that is easily accessible.
That life-saving opioid overdose drug, Narcan, will soon be available online and over the counter in the state. The lieutenant governor destigmatizing its use.
Get Narcan training. I've done it, and I have a Narcan pen in my car.
And while Narcan can save a life from heroin or fentanyl, it isn't as effective against newer, even more powerful drugs that are entering Connecticut's black market, like an animal tranquilizer known as xylazine. That claims the lives of 300 Connecticut residents every year. Reporting into Britain, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Matt. Now to an ongoing issue for years. Business owners and neighbors near a cove in Stonington are concerned after learning bacteria seeped into their water.
Fox 61's Carmen Chow is explaining how this happened and the preventative measures people there should take so it doesn't get any worse.
The water issues have always been an issue. It's always been an issue here.
Sonia Swinneber owns the Stonington Veterinary Hospital near the Aqua Cove. She is one of many along Stonington Road who have been fighting for better water quality. Her well behind her business contains salt water from the ocean.
The water's potable, but it tastes terrible. So
to make matters worse, she learned fecal coliform bacteria has seeped into the cove, putting her even more on edge. The bacteria is typically found in the feces of warm-blooded animals.
I have to have water here, not just for my staff, but to run our business. I have to have a good water supply.
Last year, the Aqua Cove received a D- grade from the Save the Sound Quality Report Card, and since then, residents and business owners who work or live near this cove have stepped up in addressing the poor water quality. The We Could Aqua Cove Clean Water Coalition have been meeting frequently to find solutions after a $47,000 grant was awarded to the Eastern Connecticut Coalition District. This grant will help inform the public while looking for solutions.
And educating people on, pet waste and not having their pets go and not clean up after them, and not washing their car in the driveway, washing it on the grass instead.
Heather Pilardi with the ECCD says the bacteria comes from the Canada geese nesting and dropping feces onto the grass. So when it rains, it flushes the feces into the cove water. Meanwhile, these signs have been posted on telephone poles warning everyone.
You can't shellfish there. It's really, in my opinion, not safe to let your animals bathe in it.
ECCD have implemented what is called a vegetative buffer to try to prevent the geese from doing unsolicited business. In Stonington, Carmen Chow, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Turning to the weather now, we're pretty excited around here for a dry ending to our work week. Not something we've talked a lot about this summer.
But what a way to end the summer here, if you consider Labor Day the end of summer. I personally don't. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now. Not the end, Rach, it's in the 90s almost.
It kind of feels like we're just getting things started looking at the 7-day forecast. Near 90 for Labor Day, and that could kickstart a heat wave heading into September, which would be already more 90-degree days than we had this entire month, which is 0. Right now, though, it is a taste of early fall out there. Nothing but blue skies overhead. You can't find a cloud. And tonight will actually be a little bit on the cooler side, too. 75 right now in Hartford. If you look to the south, you'll see this is where all the clouds are. And this is associated with Idalia that continues to spin out in the open ocean and weakening in the process. Heading through the evening tonight as we're gearing up for the news at 11, temperatures will be close to 60. But I want to show you these overnight low temperatures because this will get your attention on your way out the door tomorrow, starting off in the upper 40s to right around 50 degrees for inland Connecticut and low to mid 50s for the Connecticut shoreline. So a nice, cool, crisp start to the day and then sparkling sunshine with high temperatures climbing into the upper 70s as we head through tomorrow afternoon and another cool and comfy night for Friday night. Temperatures will slowly get dialed up and warm up as we head through this upcoming weekend, but all 3 days are nice and bright and sunny. We're going to take a look at that warming trend that's on the way. Your full forecast coming up in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you, Rachel. U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal is calling on President Biden to bolster funding for preventing homelessness. Senator Blumenthal says the country and Connecticut are seeing an alarming rise in homelessness, calling this a true crisis. Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolfhorst spoke with the senator. She joins us now in the studio with more. Emma.
Sarah, Ben Blumenthal wants Congress to allocate $6.5 billion in emergency funding to address homelessness. He says $5 billion would be used for emergency housing vouchers for families at risk of experiencing homelessness. $1 billion would go to the National Housing Trust Fund to develop and rehabilitate affordable housing units, and $580 million would be used for emergency solutions grants to support emergency shelters and housing assistance programs. Blumenthal tells me if approved, Connecticut could get tens of millions of this funding, and he says with the rate of homelessness rising, this money is essential.
These are people with their future ahead of them. And if they're homeless at this age, they face a cycle that will only get worse. There's no good ending to homelessness if there isn't help.
And after decreasing for nearly a decade, the number of people experiencing homelessness across the state rose for the second year in a row. And the number of people under 24 years of age experiencing homelessness increased nearly 8% since last year. Blumenthal says 14 other senators already support adding this funding, but he's looking for Biden's push as well. The supplemental federal funding package this money would be added into already includes aid for Ukraine and disaster relief for Maui. Blumenthal says a vote could happen in the next few weeks. Sarah, Ben.
Emma, thank you. New tonight in Danbury, a fire causing a whole lot of damage to a home. Firefighters responding to reports of a house fire on Hack Road just around 10:15 this morning. Nobody was home at the time, but we're told a firefighter received minor injuries while battling the flames. Crews were able to get the fire under control within a half hour's time. It's unknown what started the fire.
Also new tonight, police in Westport say hydraulic fluid leaking from a truck caused 3 crashes. This happened earlier today on Post Road East in the area of Long Lots Road. Firefighters say the driver of that truck didn't know that fluid was leaking. Crews worked for most of the day to clean up the mess.
Yale University President Peter Salovey has announced that he'll be stepping down from the role. Salovey says that this will be his last academic year as president. In a statement, Salovey talked about the appropriate time for a transition in leadership, saying in part, quote, "I make this announcement today with enormous appreciation and gratitude for all of those who've supported Yale's progress over the last decade." New Haven Mayor Justin Elliker also reacted to the announcement, saying in part, quote, "It's been a pleasure working with him on important and innovative initiatives that lift up the entire New Haven community through inclusive growth and opportunity."
In Meriden, the superintendent of schools says classes will still go on tomorrow, even while bus drivers prepare to walk off the job. In a letter, he says the strike will bring challenges, and they're asking parents to come up with transportation for their kids to get to school. Meriden police will have extra patrols out for kids who now need to walk to school.